Tamgon Nelzahut checked his restraints one more time, once again regretting volunteering as a liaison to a Terran ship. A Terran ship, he was reminded, as he looked around at the humans strapped into their acceleration couches, which either had faulty inertial dampeners, or which routinely maneuvered so hard it outstripped the capabilities of its compensators. And right now, the ship was maneuvering harder than normal, as it darted around the searing beams of pure energy that was lashing out from the much bigger ship behind them. "Tactical?" the captain said casually, as she swiveled her seat to face her tactical officer. "Situation." Tamgon was, despite his unease at the current situation and the maneuvering, impressed with both the relaxed demeanour and how many questions the captain managed to put in a single word. The Terran lieutenant said, as he did the thing with his shoulders that Tamgon could only think of as a human tentacle wiggle. "Not great, not terrible. We're more manoeuvrable, but they are faster." The captain glanced at Tamgon before returning her gaze to the young lieutenant, inviting him to continue. "Simply put, Captain," he went on, "what we lose on the straights we gain on the turns." "Suggestions?" Again, Tamgon was impressed with how much meaning the Terran captain couple put in a single word. The lieutenant glances up towards the overhead as he pondered, a gesture that reminded Tamgon of when his own brood were trying to come up with an explanation for mischief. "We're not at war with the... where is this ship from? Krekok at the moment," the lieutenant said after a few heartbeats. "Heck, we don't even have diplomatic relations established. So, if we're to follow the book, we can't just... No? Very well. I recommend taking out the sensors on that dreadnought so we can get far enough up this gravity well to fall back to a more defensible position." "Very well," the captain said, as she swiveled her chair to face another member of the crew. "Gunny, I know you've been itching for this." "Aye, ma'am," the young Terran sergeant replied, as she cracked the joints of her manipulatory digits, a motion Tamgon found unsettlingly close to a bully knotting and unknotting their tentacles before turning violent. Silence reigned on the bridge for the next few minutes, only punctuated by the whine of the internal dampeners, the hum of the core gun recharging, the gurgling in Tamgon's guts as he fought the motion sickness, and the calm voice of the sergeant alternating between "target acquired" and "target vaporized." Finally, just before Tamgon was certain he was going to regurgitate his last meal, the sergeant looked over at the captain. "It's no good, ma'am," she said softly. "They keep popping out new sensor heads as fast as I can knock them out." The captain, who had spent the quiet time looking through some paperwork on her console, looked up. "Oh, tactical?" Again, Tamgon noticed how much was unspoken in the question. "Well, Captain," the tactical officer said after glancing on his console. "Plan B?" "Plan B," the captain agreed. "Gunny?" "Aye, aye, ma'am," the sergeant said gleefully, as she uncovered a row of guarded switches. "Preparing Alpha Strike." Tamgon's unspoken question was so loud, the Terran captain heard it, and swung her seat to face him. "An Alpha Strike, Mr. Nelzahut," she explained through a barely concealed grin, "is where we fire every weapon we have at once." Tamgon felt his skin grow cold and clammy as he thought about some of the armaments he had been shown down on the battery deck. "Every weapon?" "Every single weapon, Mr. Nelzahut," the captain confirmed. "So expect the lights to be out for a few." Before she finished talking, klaxons started wailing as darkness descended. "Seconds," the captain finished, as the light came back on and alarms were silenced. "Tactical?" "One moment, getting sensors back online." The lieutenant looked up and shook his head. "Sorry, ma'am, they're still trying to close with us." The captain chuckled. The sound made Tamgon's lobes crawl across his back. "Why don't we oblige them? Plan C." The tactical officer looked at his console for a few heartbeats. Plan C, he agreed as he grinned. Just like the old days. Indeed, the captain agreed, as she turned to the most junior member on the bridge. Helm, ramming speed. All hands prepare for impact. Hell yes! The helmsman exclaimed. Aye, ma'am. Tamgon looked around in amazement, as he felt the growing weight pushing him into his acceleration couch. The Terrans looked gleeful, despite their ship, and him with it, towards certain doom. Mr. Nelzahut, the captain said, as she turned to face him, did you ever get a tour of the bow? Tamgon just shook his head in the human fashion, the weight of his body too much to say anything. The whole bow is reinforced, the reinforcements are reinforced, and the whole thing is reinforced some more. We'll be fine. Tamgon tried to nod. But what? He managed to croak. Will you do if this madness does not work? The captain showed her fangs, as she took out and brandished her sidearm. Plan D is that we'll board their ship, defeat the crew, hijack their ship, find out where their capital is, go there, and topple their empire. Tamgon stared at the Terran captain, as she carefully stowed her sidearm again. All that, he managed to say at last. Just like that? Just like that, the captain said, as she looked to the Quergok dreadnought filling the view screen. It worked out just like that the last 5 times we did it.